Hello everyone. In this video we're going to take a look at how to make piece number 1 on our gumball machine. Piece number 1, as you can see, is 8 inches long. It's quite a bit longer than the rest. It is still 4 inches wide. It's going to have a hole in the back to take a dowel. It's going to have this cool little ditch that we make with a CNC mill. And I'll show you how to cut that out. And then a little different than the rest, we are going to do chamfers, but we're only doing chamfers on the top edge of this piece. Okay, so let's dive over into the workspace. I've already opened up Inventor in the workspace. I'm going to create a new standard IPT. And I'm going to start a 2D sketch on the front plane like we've been doing, the XY. Grab a 2-point rectangle. My first point is going to be at the origin. One click. Slide your mouse up into the top right. This is going to be 8 inches long and 3/4 of an inch tall. So grabbing my keyboard, I need 8, tab, 0.75, return. Now before I put my keyboard away, as I normally like to do, I'm going to pin the tab and escape bar. Then I'm going to drop my keyboard down. I'd like to get rid of my rectangle tool, so I hit the escape key down here, ESC, and then I click on the word front, so I can see everything in front of me. Just like we've done with the other parts so far, this is all we need for our first sketch, so we're going to finish the sketch. Come into our home view, and we're going to extrude this 4 inches in direction 2. So I'm going to grab an extrude. I would like to flip this into direction 2 and change the distance here to 4 inches. Put the number 4 in and click OK. Before we go further into the next steps, let's make sure we save this part. We're going to go up to the orange file. We're going to go Save As. Double check you're going into your H drive up here. And then the name down at the bottom should be Gumball Piece 1. I think I maybe put an extra letter in there. I did. Gumball Piece 1. Gonna go ahead and save that. So now that's in my H drive. Anytime I click the quick save, it'll automatically go to that location. So let's draw the easier of the two shapes on here. Let's do the circle in the back because we've known how to do that so far. So we're going to start a 2D sketch on the top of our part. And I'm going to go grab the top view. So like we've done before, we're going to grab a circle tool. We're going to place the center of the circle somewhere on our part off to the right. And then we need to type in a dimension. So this circle is just like the one in piece number 3's middle. The dowel is 0.25, so that's the size of the hole we're going to make in Inventor. 0.25 and hit return. I'm going to hit my escape key to drop my tool. So now we have a hole that's the right size, but now we need to locate it left to right and up and down. So I'm going to grab a dimension tool, and I'm going to do a dimension from the top of my piece to the center dot of that circle, moving it off my part and between the arrows here. I'm going to do my third click. We're going to make this 2 inches from the edge with your keyboard. put in 2. Next, while I still have the dimension tool in my hand, I'm going to do a dimension from the right side edge, 1 click, to the center dot, 2 clicks, and then I'm going to move this between the arrows and off my part. And this is going to be 3/8 of an inch from the edge. With my keyboard, I am going to type in 3/8. And then either hit return or your green check mark there. Okay, that circle is exactly what we need. We're done drawing this. We have a size and 2 locations. So we're going to go to the big green check mark to finish our sketch. If we need to, click the home view so that you can see everything. We're going to come and we're going to extrude cut this all the way through our part. So we click extrude, we change it from join to cut, and instead of cutting 1 inch deep, we're going to come up to that symbol that says to cut through all. Once you've put all that in, we can hit OK. We've cut our circle out, we're good to go. So we're going to come up and make sure that we save our file. Quick little save, goes out with the same name, same location. Now we're good to make this piece right here. All right, this is a funky one we have never done. We're going to use something new called a work plane. So looking at the planes here, you'll see a little arrow below that. There's a ton of different ways to make your own planes. You can draw on planes that exist. You can draw on the XY, the XZ, the YZ, or you can create your own. So we're going to do an offset from plane. The first thing we need to do is click on the top of our part. That's where we're going to say, I want to be offset from this plane, and I want to go up 5 inches above it. So you'll notice there is 0.00 there. We're going to type in with our keyboard the number 5, and it's going to put our sketch 5 inches above our part. Hitting the green check mark, you'll now notice that we have a work plane over here that we can now use. So I'm going to go to the home view. We're going to go do a sketch on that work plane. So I'm going to start a 2D sketch. I'm going to click on top of this. Looks like I have to select the edge in order for it to highlight. Notice there I needed to come to the edge. That's where I want to start my 2D sketch. And I'm going to click the word top to get it nice and centered. We have another tool that we haven't used before. I want to take the shape that's down here and I want to project one of the lines up and onto my work plane. So there's this tool called Project Geometry. I'm going to click on Project Geometry, and I want to come in here and I want to project this line right here. When I click on that, I'm going to hit the escape key and show you what it's done. If I hit escape and I come to my home view, you're going to notice that it just took that line and it put it up on my work plane for me. So now we can work with that line. Let me go back to the top view. Okay, we are going to grab a 2-point rectangle. This rectangle is going to be a little tough, so stay with me here. I'm going to grab the tool, taking my pointer, I'm going to run my tool over that line we just projected. What that does is it activates it, and if you move your mouse over, you'll see in this video here, I have a dashed line coming off of there. So that dashed line is coming off of the midpoint. We want that highlighted blue line. We want to grab that dashed line so we know it's coming off the midpoint. Once that is there, we can click to place our point, kind of where I have mine. We're going to move our mouse or our pointer to the upper right. It's important, we don't want our rectangle going this way. We want our rectangle going this way. So we move our mouse up into the upper right. And now we need to tell it how wide and how tall to make this rectangle. So this rectangle's width is 1 5/8. With my keyboard, I'm going to type in 1 space 5/8. I want to switch from the width now to the height, so I'm going to use this tab key. And the height of this rectangle we're drawing is 5.25, 5 1/4, 5.25. Once you have both of those dimensions in, you can hit return and drop your keyboard. So we're pretty close. We have the rectangle. We know it's the right width. We know it's the right length. We know that that rectangle lines up with the midpoint here. We're missing one final thing. We need to grab our dimension tool. We need to do a dimension from that projected yellow line, 1 click, to the left side of our rectangle, 2 clicks. We're going to put the number up above and between those two lines right here. And this needs to be a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to type in 0.5. Return. Okay. We have everything we need on our sketch. It is perfect. We're going to come up here and we're going to finish our sketch. And I'm going to go to the home view so we can see everything. Now comes the fun part. We made our work plane 5 inches up. We actually made that rectangle 5 1/4 inches long. What we're going to attempt to do is spin it, and instead of extruding straight, we're going to revolve it. So right up here is my revolve tool right next to extrude. Lucky for us, it already selected the profile. You see it grabbed one profile. That's awesome. You'll see it's highlighted blue. If you don't have that profile, the first thing you would do is click inside of that rectangle. Now we need to select an axis. What do we want to spin this around? So I'm going to click in here for the axis. And then I'm going to take my pointer. Now I'm going to come over. Oops. Maybe you have to click that twice. You need to come over and you see this line right down the middle here. That is what we want to spin around. So we're going to select that line as our axis. Pretty good. But instead of joining this, we're going to tell it to cut this. And it's going to take that rectangle and it's going to spin cut that out of our piece there. Really awesome. All right, let's go OK. Before we move on to chamfers, I don't want to see this work plane anymore. I don't want to delete it, but I just want to make it kind of go away for now. So over on the left-hand side, you'll see the work plane is still here. Using the pointer, if you tap and hold, you're going to get the right-click menu. Down here, there is visibility. I'm going to tap on that visibility, and you're going to notice that it goes gray now. I didn't delete it. I just said, hey, I don't want to see this anymore. Next up, we need to add our 4 chamfers. We are only going to be chamfering the top edge of this piece. We are not doing chamfers on the bottom. So I'm going to come into my chamfer tool. I'm going to change the distance to 0.25. And then I'm going to select 1, 2, 3, my 4 top edges. Tell the chamfer to apply those 4 edges, and then cancel. So you're going to see our hole comes right next to the chamfer. Our little part that we cut out comes close to the chamfers here. Let's go ahead and save this right away. Okay, we're going to do a couple final things. We are going to make this piece wood. So I'm going to come up like we've done with the past pieces. I'm going to drop down that default list. And I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to go back to the white oak. I just want my bottom piece to be white oak. But there's one final thing here, and we'll see if we can get this to work. All right, this part, you'll notice, has felt inside of here. I'm going to teach you all the process of how to add felt into here. So on our design over here, let's attempt to add that. What I'm going to do is take my mouse. I have no tools in my hand. I'm going to come onto this face, and I'm going to tap and hold on that face. Looks like I need to center my view a little better. Let's try this again. Tap and hold, and here are my properties. So it wants to know, what color do you want to make this? And I'm going to select dark green. Let's see if it'll lock. And it won't. That's okay. I figured we might have an issue with this. We're going to click off of that. That's something we can do when we have Inventor in the classroom. We'll just leave it like this for now, and when I have you guys back in the class, I'll show you guys how to change that to dark green. Let's go up to the top. Let's save our part. We are done with all of the cutting for piece number 1. Good job. Next up is going to be piece number 2 in here.